All right. Okay. Hello, Autumn the Aries. Once again, Mr. D713 with the Everything Culture podcast. Just go over the makers of you. The makers of you is a list of questions, open ended, just however you're feeling, however you want to answer these questions. Um, it's just a little bit of deep dive so our listeners and our followers can get to know you on a level of,
Okay.
why you do the things you do and to think the way you think. So, we're going to start off with the first question. How would you describe yourself?
Uh, I would describe myself as oh, that is like a on-the-spot question. I haven't had to answer that in a while. Okay. I would describe myself as a very, very matter of fact individual, um, a free spirit, a very free spirit, um, and just someone who holds happiness to a very high standard.
Okay. Love it. Love it. How would you define your childhood and upbringing?
Um, I would define it as pretty traditional. Although I mean, I can't. Okay, so I was raised in a single parent home.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like it was a traditional upbringing. Um, uh, basically brought up with like a Christian background but also uh, like it was a mix. It was a mixture of book education, religious education, and street education. Basically, I guess that's probably a good way to kind of describe it. So, I feel like my upbringing made for me to become a very well-rounded individual. I've seen a lot of things in a lot of different areas and a lot of different, like, I guess, spectrums of living. So and I believe that my upbringing just plays. I never want to like blame anything or make it like, oh, it's because I was raised this way that I do X, Y, and Z. But I guess it does play a part to some negative things and some positive things. So overall, I feel like I had a cool, I mean, it wasn't like lavish, it wasn't like spectacular, but it wasn't horrible either.
Well, once again, welcome to the makings of you. Where do you consider home?
uh so I know that there's this saying that is like, it's not about where you're from, it's where you're at. And I think that's true to a certain extent.
Okay.
But home for me will
For you,
always be Toledo, Ohio. That will
Toledo, Ohio.
that will always be home. Now, do I consider? I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. Do I consider Atlanta home as well? I do. I never thought that I would. I never even wanted to move here
Mm.
ever. But I'm glad I did. And if I never had to leave here, like the only way that I would leave is if like I absolutely had to, or if it was like work or whatever. Like, so I can comfortably say that this is my home away from home. But home to me will always be Toledo, Ohio.
Okay. Toledo representative. All right.
Yes.
So, what were or what are your beliefs?
As far as what, like, are we talking? Because I got beliefs for days. So I don't know if you want to talk about like religious beliefs. I'm just a spiritual person. I was brought up um Baptist, and has when I when I was old enough to make my own decisions about church, I started going to like a non-denominational church, and then I stopped going to church, period. And
Mm.
I I just feel like I am a spiritual person who is in tune and look forward to being more in tune with myself and my spiritual beings. And I will always believe that there is some higher power. And I think sometimes I feel like it's all the same higher power, but we just call it something different. So, I mean, I guess that beliefs, if you want to talk about that, that's it on that. I'm
Love
trying to
it.
think of
No,
like
I love
what
it.
other beliefs.
Hey, whatever you want to say. This is your
Um,
time.
I believe in equality. We've talked about this. I believe in equality on all levels. I believe that people, I am 100% about living your life autonomously, and that to me, another thing that means is I believe that you should be able to live within any lifestyle that you want to live. I think that as long as whatever you're doing is not hurting anyone else, or it's not hurting yourself, and it's not and if it's something that is just seriously just ain't nobody else damn business, like I think you should be able to do that.
Like
You
it.
should be able to move in this world the way that you feel and see fit. Now, just to piggyback off of that, I there's a time and place for everything. There's a time and place for everything. If you live a lifestyle that contains like uh you know that may have, I don't know, like taboo sexual things, or like if you're a nudist, I'm a nudist. But that doesn't mean that I was gonna come on your show and just be titties out. You see what I'm saying? Because it's time and place. It's basically it's
Absolutely
basically
understand.
where I'm coming from.
We would have to
Um,
get the blurs, but we'll make it
yeah,
work.
I mean, because people, they be like, oh, well, if you live like that, you feel like you should be able to do this. And no, I'm not.
But
That's
that's a
not what I'm saying. I'm
conversation for another day
respectful.
too.
Right. I'm very respectful. I'm not, there is a time and place for everything, but that also does not mean that you have to censor every single thing that you do. So that's my beliefs on that. I believe that love conquers a lot of things. I won't say that it conquers all, but I believe that love trumps a lot of things, and eh, we get through life based upon love. And I'm not necessarily saying love of people, but just love of things, and love of situations, and love of and just compassion, and love of certain purposes and things like that. So um uh, love is and it's different. Love is different for everybody, and it's conceived different for everybody. Like, it's just such a phenomenal term to me, because it really can mean one thing to one person and something to another, but it still kind of trumps a lot of things in life. So I say all of that to say that I believe that we need to always allow people to love whatever it is that they love, or however it is they want to love, or whoever it is that they want to love. And I'll stop there on beliefs.
I love it. That's something I love. I have to finish all the questions because I can talk all day about that. How? Almost missed one. What was an impactful moment in your life?
Oh boy. God, there's been so many. Um uh,
No, take your time, and that's why I know it's been many, and I know it's hard to single it down to one. But for the sake of time, we always
Impactful.
say one,
I think
and we
that
can come back to it if we need
yeah,
to
let's
as
come
well.
back to it, because I
Okay,
gotta think that one through.
trust me, and I'm going to come back to it.
Okay.
Okay, how do you define joy?
I define joy as like an overabundance of happiness. I feel like it's I mean it's kind of the same thing, but it's kind of better. It's like have you ever heard the song Joy by Blackstreet? And how
Yeah.
okay, so they're singing he's basically singing about it's I think it's his daughter or something, because when I'm thinking about the video I think it's he's speaking about a kid.
Mm.
But to have that kind of like to say that your child is joy, like that's big. That's putting a lot of emphasis on what joy is. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
I don't know, it's like the that's like the it's like an elevated happiness to me. It's like you when you feel joy, like your heart is so full. Your heart is so full for something to bring you joy. Like cake from Piece of Cake. I love that brings me joy. Like
I never heard of piece of cake before. I'm
yeah,
about to check that
it's
out.
I think it's a change. It's here in the Atlanta metro area, but
Gotta check out pizza cake whenever I go to Atlanta. Okay, okay. Who were and are your role models?
oh man, my mother was a role model. It still is. My mom's a role model. I initially I wanted to be a nurse at one point in time, and I decided against that because I really just don't like bodily fluids and stuff like that. But she did encourage me that my mother went back to school when she was 40 years old to be a nurse. That in itself,
Wow.
you know, she's raising two girls. She basically, you know, I think my sister by that time was my sister may have been almost ready to graduate from high school or something like that or whatever. I can't remember, but um just just looking at that, just her kind of waiting until we got to a certain age, I can remember her struggle. Like I can remember helping her like with her math stuff, um but to see her say, you know what, I've sat and I've raised my kids the best way that I could at this point. I think now it's time to invest in me so that I can better, you know, still continue to provide an even better life for them and for myself. Because ultimately, again, when you talk about living your life autonomously, you have to think about you. And I know that it sounds selfish, but sometimes you have to, there's certain ways that you have to walk in order to get to your best self. You know what I'm saying? If you want to call it selfish, then it
Yes.
just kind of is what it is. But it's I think it's a good type of selfish if that exists. So yes, like my mom, my mother, watching her do what she did and achieving things that people never would have thought that she would be able to achieve, that drove me. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get my degree a little bit earlier. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do, and again, I haven't done everything perfect, but I don't think anybody has. But she's definitely one of the people that I can thank for looking up to. Another role model was Robin Roberts.
Robin
Um,
Roberts.
Initially, I told this story on another podcast too, and it was just crazy because shout out to 12 Kyle podcast. He told me
Uh-oh, Carl.
when I was on his show that I reminded him of like he asked me if I had ever been in radio. Basically, he was like, "It's so natural to you, whatever, what have you." And I'm like, you know, I did a little something in college, rocket replay in college, or whatever, what have you. But it was because I wanted to be a sports broadcaster, and the person that I looked up to was Robin Roberts for that.
Yeah,
And I still
Robin is the one. She was the one on the Howard Stern show. Is that the same
Robin
one?
Roberts is on Good Morning America.
Oh,
She
sorry,
yeah.
Robin. I apologize.
Yeah,
Okay.
she used to play basketball, college basketball, I
I know who you're
think.
talking about. I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. She just, you know, a few years ago she had cancer, all that stuff. Like she's on Good Morning America. So yeah, she was one of my role models. Those are the two that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What is a quote that you live by?
A quote that I live by is um it's on the tip of my tongue. Why am I getting tied up right now? so
It
there's a
happens. We put on the
so there's a
spot.
song by Life Jennings.
Okay.
Is it called I Am? I can't think of anything
You know,
right
he
now.
was Life Jennings and he was rapping for a little bit too. So,
Oh, Chester. Life Jennings is from Toledo, Ohio, by the way. Hometown hero.
shut up. We
Yeah.
did not know that. We might include him for
Um,
Music Monday one day.
hold on, I'm about to tell
Music
you.
Culture Monday.
Hold on. Sorry. Just give me 1 second. I'm looking for it. It is. Here we go. I'm sorry. I'm taking forever. I can't find it.
We can hold on. Let's ask the next question. We'll come back to that. So you got two to come
Okay.
back on. All right. So
Okay.
this is your, let's say, last meal. Okay. You know, like you can have one more meal, one more. What would it be, and who would prepare it?
My last meal is hands down gonna be pancakes and bacon,
Pancakes and bacon.
and
Okay.
I'm gonna make it.
And you gonna make it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You look bad. Something, something. That's okay.
Okay, here's the quote.
Okay. So we're
Oh,
going back.
this ain't even the whole thing either. But
So the
here's a
quote you live by is, so who's it by again?
this ain't the right one,
Okay.
but I'm gonna find it. Go ahead, go to the
We'll
next. Go
go
to the
back to the
next.
next. We'll go back to the next one. Okay. How would you want people to remember you?
I want people to remember me as funny. I, I want people to there are a few things I want people to remember me by. I want them to remember me as being some sort of inspiration for them. Like
Mm.
if I've inspired anyone in any way, I want them to remember that. I want to be remembered as someone that made people smile. Um, like simple joy. The word joy comes up again. Just simple joy. Like if I've ever put a smile on your face, you know what I mean? Like if there's anything that I've ever, if there was ever a word that I've spoken, be it on my podcast, prior to my podcast, growing up, best friends, as kids, as whatever, and it's something that has inspired you to do something good or great or something that made you feel good. That's how I want to be remembered.
Oh, I love it. All right. Okay. Okay. So this would be your last one, but we got. Well, let me go back to the another one.
Okay.
What was an impactful moment in your life?
Okay. An impactful moment in my life was, can't believe I didn't say this.
I can guess.
Last year, I ran, okay, was it last year or the year before last? Last year, what's this, 2020? So it's 2018. So in 2018, I had decided I was trying to teach myself how to run again, and this is something that has been kind of hard for me over the years. I've struggled with weight loss, and I've struggled with becoming a a runner, which is what I ultimately wanted to do. And so I I registered for a 5K, and I had tried to train myself to run the 5K. 3 weeks prior to the 5K, I had stopped training, period, and wasn't even going to go. So I decided to go, and I walked the entire thing, which was disappointing for me, but whatever. I completed it. It was like my first like real 5K that I got like a medal for and all that. So after the 5K, a couple of days later, and again, I don't really fool with Facebook like this, but just because I was in this group and the group of the 5K and all this stuff. So I get on Facebook, and I'm tagged in all these pictures. And I'm like, all right, whatever, normal shit. That's what happens. I get on there, but first of all, this lady tagged me, posted a picture of me to her page and tagged me to it. I had just met her. Like, why would you do that? It was kind of weird, right? So that's a sidebar. But anyways, uh, but I look at the picture and I'm like, who is this? Like, I looked at the picture and I couldn't even see myself. And it wasn't initially, because when I tell this story, I usually tell it about like my weight loss journey or whatever. But it wasn't about the weight. It was literally, I'm looking at this person and I don't know who this person is. That changed my life. That picture, I'm gonna show you the picture. I'm gonna send you the picture at one point. That picture changed my entire life. I had to find out who this person was, and I had to get rid of this person because I didn't feel comfortable with whoever this person was. Wow. Mentally, physically, everything. I was hurting. I was everything. I've been to therapy about this, by the way. I just was not that person. And I made the decision to change based upon that picture. So that picture, taking that picture and being tagged in that picture, was a very impactful moment in my life.
Shout out to that woman that took that picture, posted that picture, and tagged you in that picture.
Yep.
You yep. Well, it's not about what I'm about to say. We'll get back to that later. But got to come back. Did you find that quote?
Oh, yeah.
But who's the quote about? You say it's about.
So really, it's kind of a whole song. Kind of. Okay. It's Life Jennings.
Life Jennings.
And the name of the song is called "I Am."
Okay, and that's fine if that's your quote. That is a whole song.
But basically, there was it's like one specific quote. It's like one specific thing that he says. And I'm like reading the lyrics, and I can't figure out which one it is that I always quote. But right the chorus basically of the song says I think, therefore I am, therefore I can create the best for me. Like, watch the words you say, because the angels following your direction. And then he says, I'm beautiful, I'm successful, I'm worthy of being loved. The reason why you pray is to confirm that you've received your blessing. And he says, I think, therefore I am, therefore I create the best for me, change my thoughts and change my destiny. I think, therefore I am, therefore I can see the world for what it is. We create the lives we live. So basically, it's this is it. I found it. Sorry. I didn't went through all of that.
Okay. Is. So I'm gonna repeat the question.
Here it is.
What
okay,
is a
repeat
quote,
the question.
What is a quote that you live by, and who is it by?
The quote is by Life Jennings. Shout out to Life Jennings from Toledo, Ohio. It is, your happiness is just a thought away. That's it. That's the quote. That's what I had to get to after all this time. Your happiness is just a thought away. When I say I believe that with all that is in me, as a person that suffers from anxiety, I always have unwanted thoughts. I can't really control them. They just kind of happen. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I have to change the narrative. When I start having these thoughts, And just like the song says, like the things that you speak, the things that you say, they will manifest themselves if you allow them to, and that means the good and the bad. So it, even when it comes to really anything, it's just like you don't want to bring that. You want to bring the type of energy to you that you want to live with. So when you think happy thoughts, even when you have those negative thoughts, if you try to change those thoughts around, it works. It helps. It takes practice though. Like you have to continuously do it, and then you start to speak good things into yourself. Your happiness is just a thought away. That quote by itself, I'm so mad that I had forgot what it was. That quote by itself can change your life. And I
Absolutely.
appreciate Life Jennings for that.
I would say I would absolutely agree. Absolutely. Last question.
Okay.
How do you describe your culture?
How do I describe my culture? I describe my culture as lit. We lit. The culture is lit. Okay. Especially right now. We out here moving mountains.
Mm,
We out here trying our hardest and our damnedest to get shit done.
mm,
Mask on. Out in the streets with our masks on. Still listening to great music, still eating good food, but we're also fighting.
and trying
You know
to
what I'm saying?
go ahead, keep going. I'm not gonna say anything.
We're fighting. We're fighting internally. We're fighting external. We're fighting with everybody around us. But in all, I feel like we're still so lit because we're still trying to hold each other and keep each other together.
Hey,
I feel like with all of this stuff, one thing that I love about my culture, one thing that I love about our black asses is that we can find humor in anything.
mm,
And out of the worst things, the worst things, we can find humor in it. And I think that and just going back real quick, I think that's one reason why I like The Office, because it's gonna
yes.
that type of ordeal. But anyways, we can find humor in anything, and it's our coping mechanism and our way of lifting each other up. We lit, man. We have everybody wants this. Everybody wants to be a part of this culture. Even the people that are that don't like us for real. They want everything that we have. That's why we're going through the shit that we're going through. We lit. Everybody want to be a part of this culture.
Mm,
Period.
mm, period. Culture. Okay. And Autumn, the Aries, ladies and gentlemen. You can find her on Instagram. You can find her on Twitter. You can find her on YouTube. You can find her on Facebook with the Lit Life podcast. You can find her at www.autumnthearies.com.
Yep.
Check her out. She is our upcoming guest for this week on Everything Culture. Once again, you can find us on Twitter at EveryTHD Culture. You can find us on Tumblr at Everything Culture, Facebook and Instagram at Everything Culture. And you can find us on our website at www.everythangculture.com. Thank you
It's
again,
been
Autumn.
real. Thank you so much for having
Yes.
me on.
Oh, yeah. So, we about to talk a little bit, then go. Thank y'all.